A warm welcome to Active Directory Basics, a part of the Tech Boss program, to help you master the important skills to be just your own boss in with Tech Magic. And these are based on my actual past paid trainings in over 100 plus technologies. The more you know and start applying, you can master. And hence, I am creating short courses so that you can learn fast and apply the most important things. So before we move on, my one of my Active Directory courses had really reached a lot, and they found it very helpful. And they said that the basics are clearly demonstrated. So now I'm going to jump into Active Directory. So this is a powerful tool or a way to do user management. It is a hierarchical model, and many companies are using. Why should we look at this Active Directory? Because it is simple, secure, and you can manage users and computers in one place. So one thing to note is that this is for businesses, and any business cannot rely on one customer or one user. So we definitely have multiple users, and how to handle them is the question. So we have proper user management, or if you are working in an organization, you might have a computer which might be in different locations. For example, when I was working in uh, US, I was physically going to Pittsburgh, but the computer was somewhere in the West Coast. So the computer may be elsewhere, but it is all managed in one place with the power of Active Directory, and that is the technology. So these concepts are used in Microsoft, Oracle, Azure, and so many companies, almost all the companies will obviously be having a Active Directory. A simple example to understand is that you take Google, they have a lot of email addresses, and so you have a first name, last name, and a email address. So what is the benefit of this? You have powerful applications to manage the user's intelligent systems. And once you know this Active Directory, it's a very high demand skill. Work from home. Many had requested for my course for a very long time, and this particular Active Directory skills is much needed in the world from world over. So what are the components of Active Directory? You definitely have various components. We have a server called domain. Okay, so that's where the services are running for domain controller, where the Active Directory is running. And we have, so inside the server, we are going to manage all the objects. So what are these object types? The objects can be a user like you, the computers, and the groups, or the domains, or different domains. So these are all managed from a central place. So there is a software for that, and we call that Active Directory. And it's a hierarchical structure. So where we have, it's called forest at the top, and it's a tree view. For example, you can have a CEO, and under the CEO you have CTO, and CTO you have many, you have marketing, and so many departments, and there is a hierarchy structure right now. But coming to the business, I'll share some tips at the end to help you understand when you run your own business. For now, we'll do a simple demo to understand Active Directory. So here I'm showcasing Azure Active Directory, which is a cloud version of Active Directory. See, long back it was running in Windows. You have a server, and specifically for having managing users also sometimes, and objects, and we have the concept called LDAP, Lightweight Active Directory. So that was a specific language. So no matter what goes on, whether it's cloud or it's on premise or Oracle or Sun or whatever company it is or whatever future it is, these concepts are not going to change. It's going to be there. So it may be a new user. So these are the common actions you'll have. A new user is added. So for example, when you're joining a company, definitely there is a process followed where you're going to get a user ID password, and that is done through the process of user management, and that is happening in the Active Directory. And so let's create a new user. So this is an intranet application. So look at this. So when I say internal user, this is a new user in the organization, like an employee. Now, if I want a guest user, I can click the guest user option, and I can even have their email address. So, and I give the username here. I give the first name, last name, and I have additional settings. So when you go into the depth, there are so many properties. Okay, so like username, then first name, last name, and the groups, what are the groups they belong, what is the role they play, and whether they are admin or user, super admin, and what is the job title, what is the department, company name. And I will share some real world experiences also soon to help you understand. So this is one way to create the user from the user interface without any coding knowledge. But I am a coder, so I just love to really do things from the code. So we are just going to create a new test user. So with the name Nancy test, and we'll give today's date. So I'm just going to call this command called new ad user. So the language, see, I like PowerShell because in one line you can code, but long back I've been using C# also. So now if I go back to the users, I can I'll just refresh it. So I can see that a user is added. So the beauty is when you want to do bulk operations, of course you have bulk operations possible where you have to select all and do some modification. But there are times when you have like thousands of users and you want to automate, then code is the way. So I will be sharing some real world experiences that I had with Active Directory, and then share the best practices. So some of the real world experiences I had was with very big organizations like 3M. So let's take one client called 3M, and it's a very scientific organization creating innovative products. And one of my role was to pass the users in C sharp. It was a very complex code. It was using the directory services, and so I was it was, and there was a complex logic involved in LDAP to do some automation with the users. And of course there were other things going on where we are taking the users and loading them to the SQL and automating that. We're pushing them to different systems. So in the real world, the users, so nowadays it's getting more complex where some users are in the Windows Active Directory where you have a login ID like uh, abc@thangu.com. And now if it's a hybrid model, now you have a cloud version Azure Active Directory. You might have the same on-premise model, or if you have only or cloud, it will be like abc@thangeshwari.onmicrosoft.com. Or if you have Oracle, there is a different user ID pattern. And there are other concepts which are happening nowadays, like multi-factor authentication, and so many good things going on. Where some, and people are going password free nowadays. So it's in the future it might be biometric scanning where it's going to look at your eyes. I once remember where we had where my laptop was letting me log in by just seeing the face detection. Face detection, it was letting me log in. I didn't have to type anything. So it's evolving, and of course, there should be a simple solution always. Security is very important. So hence, this Active Directory is very crucial, and there are a lot of need for the skills, and hence there was a lot of need for people wanting my course too. So coming to the best practices, keep it simple. So of course, you have to plan well in ahead. So depending on your business, so that is if you become a business owner, you need to really think how many employees are needed and how many clients are needed. Now for it, I'm running a business when I don't really want to have employees at all, because then I just want the clients, so that I'm running the business all alone. So when you need to make profit, you really want, but even then you need to manage the clients. There are a lot of things you need to manage, like clients are again users, and there are probably hundreds of clients coming weekly or monthly. It can be leads also, and you need to manage them. So again you have to search for one way to manage them. So if it's like cloud product like uh, SharePoint or Azure, so instead of making them log in like a internal user, there is an option to make external users log in, so they can use their own Gmail ID, or nowadays if you see, they can use their you can log in using your Facebook or Google authentication and log in. So when you go to the authorization authentication, there are again you can go into the tab. There is so much to learn. So first try to And one more best practice is do not delete users. So based on my real world experience, it is a good practice to never delete users because there are legal complications. So when you have users, just let them be there. Whoever it is, you need to record them. Do not delete any user and let all the data be safe. And have strategies to handle large data. So in case you're getting a lot of revenue on your or and your data is expanding, if you're for government organizations, so you have to probably have crores of data. So how you should have strategies to handle large data too. And uh, and don't complicate things with multiple technologies. Keep it simple and manageable. Think long term always, and arrive plan well and arrive at a good solution. So in the future, we have things are way easier. But what I observe is I'm like looking into various technologies nowadays, and I think I've interacted with many people in the past week just with multiple technologies, be that simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or SSRS, SSIS. And I was looking at various technologies, and what I found was that, of course, the changes are coming, but old is still good. That I observed. Some of the old applications are just gone away, but what I can say, they're very sturdy. So, of course, future is good. What I see is it's a repetition of what's happening in the past with uh, it's actually not as good as the past. I've really seen very good applications in the past, and they're just getting shut down with no proper reason. So if you one example is in SharePoint, we have good designer or we have good info path, and they're just replacing it something uh, which is with too many features, because when you want a page, you don't want thousands of items and thousands of features. So simple is always best, and sturdy, that sturdiness is also important. That is when you hit the application, no matter what happens, it should stay strong, and and just and the system should be able to run for years to come. So one problem I observe is people are just using Angular React 1 or 2 years, it's done, and again they come to me for rewriting the whole application again. So there's no point in doing something and rewriting everything again in 2 years. So just think long term, do something which is really good for long term too, not just short term, and uh, and just keep winning. So thank you so much. You're an awesome tech person. So if you need to know more or you want my online course in this Active Directory, you can get in touch at thangu.com/TTA. You can get instant or exclusive course based on your topics, or there are a lot of experts with more than 10 years of experience who can guide you with live crash course for 1 hour or 10 days or 21 days for 1 hour a day. And so you can get your questions also clarified one on one. So you're welcome to join the groups. If you have not joined, please join the group. There are a lot of activities going on there. So the recent I really asked a question on what is the top interview questions they wanted, and among various technologies, the answer was for Python. Many wanted questions on Python. So stay tuned for some interview questions on various technologies also. And so thank you so much and take care. Wish you grand success.